While I was listening to your book, I wanted to bring up this photo. So if you're just listening to this podcast, you won't be able to see it. But if you're on YouTube, you can see the Bristol stool chart. So this is like, if you're eating chocolate mousse, probably look away. But this is this is basically just a stool chart of what or I guess different types of poo that people have. So I kind of just wanted you to run through it. And just kind of, because you did in your book, and it was helpful to me, because there was like a difference of like, if you're just, this type, or just that type, or if you're both this and that, like, because I think a lot of people don't really know what to look for when they're looking at their poo, and I don't either, but I think it's interesting. So I know you don't need me to hold this up here, but I think if people, and you've probably got a better one. This is just the first one I found. But can you break down the Bristol stool chart for us? That would be really cool.
Yeah, sure. And anyone can Google this. It's free. You can get it on the online. But Bristol Stool Chart is what we call a validated tool. So it's how we categorize your poo. But lovely kind of conversation. And you're quite right. Nobody ever told us as kids. I don't remember my mum talking about any of these subjects. Like, what does your poop look like? But it can tell us so much. So you've got type 1 to type 3 there. So it's type 1 to type 7 is the range. Type 1 to type 3 is what we would see as more of a constipated profile. Type 4 is like your perfect poop. And then type 5 to type 7 would be more of a looser stool, so more like diarrhea or looser. Now, I would just say before I go into each one, you are never in your life going to have a perfect poo every single day for the rest of your life. This is not what it's about, having a type 5 stool one day and running to the doctors or panicking, but it's about generally it should be a type 4. Okay, so if you are noticing actually it's always not a type 4, that's where you might have some problems. So type 1 is like your rabbit drop-ins, and that's where you're very, very constipated, indicating you don't have enough fluid or fibre to help bulk up the stools, because what fibre will do is draw in fluid to get you nice bulky stools, which is then easier for your gut to push out essentially. Okay, then you've got number 2 and number 3, which are sort of variations of that, I guess, but as they become drier, as they move towards the type 1. So it just could be that you're just a little bit lower in the fibre, a little bit lower in the fluid, and you can increase those a little bit. And then your type 5 to 6 and type 7. Type 7 is really actually abnormal in IBS. Type 7 is this liquid stool, and it does indicate more things like an infection or something called bile acid diarrhea. So if that does happen, then please, let your doctor know. Sometimes people will get the type 1, type 2, and then get type 7, and that's an indication you have what we call overflow diarrhea. So that's when you get really, really constipated, and then the stool that's coming down will essentially have to go over that to get out. So it looks like you've got loose stools. People go and get medications panically from their doctor because they think they've got all these loose stools, when actually their problem is constipation. So if it's mostly constipation, then you get this liquid stool, it's because you've got something in there that's really dry and impacted. And then type 5, type 6 it could be related to dietary intake, so like FODMAPs. It could be related to lack of fibre. Interestingly, sometimes if you don't have enough fibre, again, you're not going to be able to produce those bulky stools, or even things like stress, anxiety, anything that's drawing more water or making things move through your gut quicker is going to cause the loose stools. And just want to just reiterate what we said at the start about IBS. You do need to go and get tests. So if you're looking at this chart and going, oh yes, I probably have IBS and my stool is this type, you still cannot diagnose from that. You have to go, because yes, you might have IBS, but you could also have celiac disease or inflammatory bowel disease, an infection. Even bowel cancer is unfortunately on the rise. So let's not guess. Go and get those tests done from the doctor.